Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Matt, and today I want to talk about setting up goals when you're learning a foreign language. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a really long time, and I think it's one of the most important things you can do when learning a foreign language. And unfortunately, it seems like not a lot of people talk about it, or it doesn't get a lot of focus. And really, setting goals is just so huge for learning a language or really anything in life. If you're not setting goals right now, you totally should, even if you're already an intermediate person or you're just starting out. And, to be honest with you, it doesn't have to be hard. A lot of it is just kind of this one-time setup. And then once you got it going on, it's really going to help you in a lot of ways. It's going to maximize the probability that you're going to get really good at a language. It's going to maximize the chances that you're going to have a lot of fun and overall just make a lot of progress. So how do you set goals, right? How do you approach this? Well, I think the first thing is to have that overarching goal, right? Why you're doing this in general, which for most people means they want to be fluent or really competent in a language. Now, that means a lot of different things for different people, and so you want to be very clear and be very specific about what that means for you. Don't just say, I want to be fluent in French. What does that mean, right? That might just mean I can have a conversation with someone in French. It might just mean I want to be able to understand everything in a newspaper in French, or be able to listen to a movie with ease. Be very specific and almost have a bunch of criteria, because that's going to help you to identify, if you've met your language learning goal or where you want to go, right? Because if you have just a very broad, unspecific goal of, I want to be fluent in French, how do you know when you get there, right? How do you know how much action you need to put in? Are you putting in enough time? It's just not one of the best goals. So be very specific about that end state. And then from there, we can develop auxiliary goals or supporting goals to get to that destination. Now, one thing that I would stress is, if you can, try to set up time frames when setting up goals with language learning, right? Try to have a time frame, like whether that's a year or 2 years, to meet certain targets, or even really auxiliary and supporting goals as well. Because if you have time frames, it kind of helps to inform how much time you need to put into the language learning process, either every day or every week. Or it's just really kind of a nice accountability measure. And of course, this is going to be, to a degree, an art and a science, right? It's not super perfect, right? Because chances are, if this is the first language that you're learning, you're not going to have the experience of, how long does it take, right? Chances are you might be overestimating your abilities to get to fluency or whatever. But regardless, try to just, take that for what it is. It's a little bit of an art and science, and do your best to set up time frames for everything. So now, once you've set up that overarching goal of fluency or whatever, you want to build supporting goals around that. So what does that mean, right? Well, let's say you've defined that fluency in French means that you can read everything in a newspaper flawlessly, or you can watch most things on Netflix with ease. From there, we need to identify what are the core things that I need to do to get there. And there's a couple of different areas and ways you can think about it, right? I like to think about your language learning goals in the main areas of study with language learning. So for example, vocabulary acquisition, listening comprehension, reading comprehension, grammar, speaking, writing, things like that. Set up goals in those areas, and then also try to set up goals around time. So for example, you might identify, okay, I need to know this many words to get to my goal. And so I'm going to learn this many words every single week, and I'm going to track that through an SRS flashcard system. Maybe it means that you want to, get really good at listening this year in the language that you're learning, and so you're going to commit to doing 30 minutes of listening every single day. Whatever it is, be very specific and try to use SMART goals, kind of the SMART goal principle when setting up your goals, right? And I'll link that in the description below, but basically it's having goals that are very specific, things that you can measure, that are achievable, time-oriented, things like that. They're going to kind of help you to be really clear about what you need to do every single week, and then how to do that, right? So you want to have those goals, and ideally, too, you want to write all of these things down, right? A lot of people might have a goal in the back of their mind, and it's in their memory, and that's it. not the best, right? It's how do you keep yourself accountable for a goal that's in your head? How do you even remember it? Maybe it changes. Write those things down, right? Whether that's in a notebook, on your computer, in an Excel sheet, something like that, and be very specific about what they are, right? Not just 3 words, basically, the main idea, and then maybe supporting information about what that means once you've achieved it. Ideally, too, you want to track those goals, right? Every single day or every week or whatever is the best for you, right? So let's say you commit to doing 5 hours of language learning every single week. Track those hours in a notebook or on your computer every day or every week, right? Mark that I got 6 hours this week, or 3 hours, I missed my goal, 5 hours. Because number one, it adds an element of accountability to your language learning, right? And if you have accountability, remember, we're hitting those targets, we're gonna make progress. And if you're making more progress, you're gonna have a lot more fun. The thing too is you're also gonna thank yourself later, right? Once the year's over or whatever time frame, you're gonna look back at all of your goals. You're gonna see all the time that you put in, all these kind of victories, and that's gonna make you feel good and help to reinforce that yes, you indeed are making progress. Or you're going to be able to see what you're doing wrong and ways you can improve the process for yourself when learning the language. So it's really a good reference. It adds accountability, and it also just, it makes the process more fun. It helps you to add kind of, I guess, more of a visual reference for your progress. Because a lot of language learning, to be honest with you, it's very tough sometimes to know if you're making progress, or like how many words do you know? How good are you at these things? And when you add goals, you're able to have that visual reference that you are indeed making progress. And that's something really important, I think, with language learning, right? People have this sense that they're not making improvements, but if you have goals, you have that reference, whether that's time invested in doing something, reading a certain amount every day, learning this many words, it's going to help you in the end of the day, right? And like I said, once you've done that setup process, you're good to go, right? Ever so often, analyze your goals to see if they make sense, right? Could they be improved? Are you meeting those targets? But once you got the setup, it's going to help kind of lay this railroad track for, okay, I'm doing 3 hours every single week of language learning. And remember, 3 hours every single week is going to add up. You're going to see that progress. It's going to help to kind of increase the odds that you're going to make a lot of progress in the language learning, that you're learning. So really, set up goals. It's so important. It really can make a big difference in your language learning, whether or not you're just starting out and thinking about starting a language, or are intermediate and haven't set up goals in the past. So give that a try. Let me know what you think. Do you have language learning goals? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.